You may be smart, but are you retirement realistic? I mean, seriously, let's find out. Let's review some key retirement myths with your host, Brendon Murphy. I'm Patrice Sikora. Now, Brendon, I have to say that while these myths sound plausible, they just don't make sense when you think them through.
Not at all. Not at all. It's about as fun as the Mets beating the Phillies in this series coming up. Just
Wait. Let's not go there, okay? Let's not go there. I know they're down right now at the time of this taping, but they're going to come back. The Mets will come back, my dear.
they will not. But
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
okay, we'll go.
What do you want to bet on this?
I don't know. You let me know at the end. What do you want to do? I think we could come up with a friendly wager, maybe a sandwich or something or some type.
That sounds good. That
Yep,
sounds good.
we
I
will.
think they'll do it in 4.
They got to win the next two.
I know.
I don't know.
They're at home. They're at home.
I think they come back and play in Philly on Friday, and Phillies win and move on. That's just my prediction.
This all brings us into retirement and spending less in retirement. How many retired folks out there are going to these games?
A lot,
Right?
actually.
Yeah.
It's costing them an arm and a leg.
So the myth is, I'll spend less in retirement. Come on.
No, the in the beginning of retirement is the hardest because you've just come out of working. Maybe you're making $100,000, and you still think you're making $100,000, even if you're not, right? So we like to use the average of 70-80%. So you get out of retirement, you're looking at 70-80% of 100,000. Now you're making $70,000 to $80,000. Well, there's nothing really coming in besides maybe Social Security and however the distribution method you set up for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the go-go years. We're going to go see the grandkids. We're going to go take the vacations. We're going to go see our friends in California. We're going to go to Italy. We're going to do all these trips, all the hobbies that I didn't get to do, all the honey-do lists that you haven't done while you were working. It's going to cost you a little bit of money in the beginning, right? Later on, maybe the slow go years, maybe 80s, 90s, you're not spending as much. But with inflation today and things that are going on, you're spending a little bit more money.
Well, face it, too. What do they say in retirement? Every day is Saturday, and what do you do on Saturday? Hey, you go to Home Depot. Hey, you go spend money.
Every day, you're going out to a restaurant. It's Saturday night. It could be Monday night. It could be Tuesday night. You're going out to dinner a little bit more. You're going to see friends, having dinner with friends, having parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stuff you didn't get to do while you were working because your schedule's so busy. You're seeing the kids or grandkids games, things of that nature, taking grandkids to Disney World, right?
Some of us do.
Some of us do.
Yeah. All right. So I don't spend less in retirement. How do you explain this to people when they come in? Oh, I'm going to be doing fine here.
Well, we talk to people about a budget. I'm not here to put you on a budget. I'll just talk to you about it. Hey, if you're spending this much money while working, you're going to spend this much money while retired because you have medical costs, Medicare. You have to make sure that you had enough savings put away for any kind of long-term care or extended care calls later on. So we look at all those factors. Do you still have a mortgage? Do you have a vacation property? Do you still have a car payment? We're going to talk to you about all of that and get you to look at a budget, but not really put you on one, just so you're close. And we use the term, if you're going to say, I need $8,000, we're going to say you might need $8,500 or $9,000 because you're going to spend a little extra in the beginning of the retirement. It's just because you're so used to doing it.
You just brought up a good point, though. Healthcare. Healthcare costs do not go down as you get older.
They do not. And they're going to get even more and more expensive as everyone's getting older now because people are living longer, right? I think the average was you had to have $250,000 saved for medical issues. How many people do we know that have $250,000 per person for some type of medical issue? And if they hadn't bought an extended care policy or some type of provision or savings, they're not sitting on that kind of money.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Any other tidbits about spending less in retirement?
I mean, there's no way of getting around it. You're going to spend the money because you want to do what you want to do. People are going to do what they want to do. It's about making sure that you have Social Security, right? Social Security is going to make up about 35 to 40% of your income. Then the rest of it's going to be from investments and savings. And God willing, you have a pension. We've covered that topic before. But if you don't have another stream of income set up, you might not be able to hit that number. And then you're dipping into the investment accounts. Then you're dipping into the savings accounts. So there's no way to replace them besides the market's going up, right? The market's been great the last couple of years. There's some dips along the way, but at some point, like it always does, it's going to go down
Mhm.
and then it'll come back. But we're in retirement now. We don't have that horizon, maybe that 10 years to wait for it to come back or whatever it may be. It dropped 30% back in what, 22, and it came back within 6 months, or that was about what it came back in. You could make it up quickly. What if it doesn't happen this time as quickly, right? So you have to have some kind of protected bucket, maybe some kind of income bucket besides Social Security to get you through your go-go years.
And now Social Security. Ah, yes. People think Social Security is going to take care of everything they need, all their expenses. Social Security is all they need to maintain their lifestyle.
Well, I just said it. It only takes up 35 to 40% of your income. So
Mhm.
if we're using the averages of 70, 80%, depending on who you are and what you're using, where's that other 35 to 40% coming from?
Where did this idea ever come from that Social Security was supposed to take care of everything?
I don't know. It was supposed to be a benefit. That's why it's called a benefit, right? It's a benefit, an add on to what you were supposed to be saving or supposed to be doing. And then it's not now. I mean, it's not. Social Security is underfunded. You're going to hear the stories of it. They're talking about reducing it or again, moving up the full retirement age to maybe to 69 or reducing the benefit by like 23% by like 2037. So those people who are relying on it and the only income they have going in because they didn't save or were unable to save are living off that Social Security benefit. So if you were working making $60,000 and now you're only living on 35, that's a struggle, especially today.
So, how do you use that with a pension or savings or investments?
Well, it's a piece of the puzzle, right? The Social Security is a piece of the puzzle. The pension could be another $2,000. So yeah, I got a $3,000 pension. So now I'm making 7,500, but I need to be at nine. Well, you have to turn some of your savings or some of your IRA dollars or 401k dollars, 403b, TSB, whatever you want to call it, whatever you have, into some other kind of income. Then everything else can be gravy because then you can have that. Then your investments will keep up with inflation over time, right? Social Security will get those colas along the way, not as big as they gave out 2 years ago, but a normal cola, like somewhere in that 2 to 3% range, keeping up with inflation, and then your investments keep up with inflation by the market going up. So your income needs to be steady through that whole period.
Right. And there's so many milestones within the Social Security system that you really need to talk to somebody who understands what it means to take Social Security benefits at 62 or 65 or 67 if that's your age, or 70.
If you're retired and you made your money, you're like, I'm never going to work again, you take it at 62 because there's earnings limits. So if you're like, hey, I'm making $100,000, I'm going to pull my Social Security at 62 because I want it. Well, you're going to be taxed for every dollar, $2 for every dollar you make. And then there's another level at 65. And then after you hit full retirement age, which for most people today is 67, that's going to be you can make unlimited amounts of money 3 months in. So 67 in 3 months, unlimited amounts of dollars. Social Security is not going to be taxed any differently besides the income. So you're going to pay the tax on Social Security. People forget that too. They think they don't pay tax on Social Security. You do, right? But you're not. There's no earnings limit, so you can make as much as you want. So if they raise it to 69 because people are living longer, we're planning out 30-year retirements, 30 to 35-year retirement. So you retire at 65. We're planning for you to live to 95.
All right, so we've gotten through two things here. You're not going to be spending less in retirement. Social Security is not going to cover your expenses. Myth number 3, I don't need to save until I'm older.
Yeah, I would say a couple different words, but this is a PG podcast as of right now. Yeah, I mean, saving is based on every person. Every person's a little bit different, right? If you can, you get your paycheck, 50% goes towards the bills, 30% to savings, if you can, and 20% to spending on that, right? It could be a rule of thumb. It's different for everyone. 60% could be your bills, and you go 20-20 or 30-10, however you want. You have to pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Take that portion, put it aside, whether you put it in the 401k, the 403b, if you have an IRA outside. Start saving, or a Roth IRA. You can do it after tax if you'd like to. Do it. You can start putting it aside. You have limits to the IRA that you can contribute to. You have limits to the Roth. The Roths are less, right? But if you just put that money away and let it compound over years, because the compounding interest is the key to everything. You get that compounding interest, either IRA or Roth IRA, you're going to have money in retirement. Do it for your kids. Set it up the same way. If you're putting away 15%, put 3% in for the kids now and start building them up an account along the way. You can use life insurance. You can use a whole bunch of different vehicles. Savings can start at any time. You just have to be disciplined in how you're doing it. After, like I said, budget earlier. Don't like to put people on a budget, but just get to know the numbers. Kind of know where you need to be around, and then everything else is excess, and then you can figure out what you can save and what's your going out money.
And I don't think people understand the importance of compounding. I'll tell you, in school, I had no clue what compounding was. And when I got out, I learned it quite by accident.
Yeah. I mean, look at the people who retired in 2008. They lost what, 40% of their portfolio? They needed 80% to get back to even when they retired. So how long did it take them? It took them about like 6.7 years to get back to even. And if you're somewhere in your 70s and that happens to you again, do you really have that 7 years to make up all that money when you're taking income from those dollars? Not everyone can survive that.
No. And then you've got the other going back expenses to healthcare. You've got healthcare expenses to worry about.
Yeah, especially in Pennsylvania, if you're at a top of the line nursing home, it's $150,000 a year. 40 hours a week of home care is $5,500 right now.
Wow.
Just in the state of Pennsylvania, you can go on and look. They'll give you all the averages, but that's a lot of money. If God forbid you have dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, 8 years, you're over $1 million.
Okay. Because that leads us right into our next myth. I won't live that long.
Yeah, you will. Nowadays, people are living longer and longer. The medicine that they're coming out with, the diets people are trying to live longer. People are living 30 years longer than they did. The statistic is if you have a married couple that makes it to age 65, one of them will make it to age 85. The other will make it to 84. Women historically live a little bit longer, but you're looking at people living into their 90s now. How many people do you see on the news that have hit 100 or 104? Or you never heard of that before? You only had maybe once every 5 years you would hear someone hit 100. Now we're getting into those people that are living to 94, 95. I was just at a funeral for a friend of mine's grandma. She lived to 95. Her birthday's Thursday. Would have been 95 years old.
Wow.
She's been retired for 30 years. You had to know. You have to know. You have to plan for that 30-year retirement. That's what we're looking at.
And with that, you've got to plan for some kind of healthcare issue like dementia, Alzheimer's, or even physically being disabled.
Absolutely. 50%. It's 1 out of 2 are going to need some type of care. It's a 50-50 shot. You're either going to need it or you're not. And if you don't plan for it, it's going to come out somewhere. If you're worried about leaving a legacy for your family, it's going to come out of there. If you don't worry about that, it's going to come out of the investments that you and your spouse or you yourself, if you're single, you have the money for it, right? You might have some of the dollars to help pay someone to take care of you. If you don't have a family member or another loved one to take care of you. That's the scary part. If you're single and you don't have that other person, or if you don't have kids or what it is, you have to have extended family or family that lives near you that want to help and take care of you.
Yeah, it just brought up a thought. You got to be careful about the pets you have too, because boy, they're going to be expensive. And number one, they could outlive you.
They could.
What are you going to do?
And it's hard to say, will you please take my dog?
Yeah.
But that is also, if you're a single person with those type of animals, now you got to figure that out, or figure, you're going to put something away for them. Some people have. I've seen that. They donate to charity, they donate to the church, or whatever religion they may be. They're all different options that you're looking at. And if you don't have some kind of plan for it, you're going to be in trouble a little bit, right?
Is it too late to ever start planning?
It's never too late to start planning. No, because there's always a way. If you look at the budget word is not a fun word for people when you hear it, but just look at the numbers. The numbers are going to tell you the truth. Can I start putting aside, and maybe I have to give going to the third night out of dinner. Maybe I save that $150 or whatever it may be. But there's a couple things you can give up to get to where it needs to be. But there's never a bad time to start saving.
Is there something we haven't touched on here in these myths that you really think we should?
I would just look at something else besides just taking the 4%. The 4% rule that most people know is that they have $1 million to take 4%. I would look at setting up their own personal pension. Let that money, the other money, stay in the market. Let it keep up with inflation by earning what it is. Set up a fixed index annuity or a guaranteed payment to make sure that on top of your Social Security, that income never stops coming in and it's set up for life. Make sure you reach out to whatever professional that does your investments, they give you some kind of fixed income for life. You need to have that to make sure that it is, because it's not always that case. It needs to be a fixed income product to help you with Social Security to get to that level of security you need to be at.
And in a previous episode, we did talk about annuities, so I encourage listeners to go back and listen to that. And if they still have questions, how can they reach you?
They can give us a call at 610-449-9900, or they can reach me on our website at www.mycfsi.com.
So myths can be busted and they can be planned for. At Compass Financial Solutions, they want you to understand the reality of retirement and the benefits of planning. Follow this podcast for more insights and info on all topics financial, and please share with others. And thanks for being with us.
Thank you for listening to the Compass Wealth Conversations podcast. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at www.mycfsi.com. That's www.mycfsi.com. Or give us a call at 610-449-9900. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Compass Financial Solutions Incorporated. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Please note that the information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only. All opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of any institutions or entities they may be affiliated with. This podcast should not be considered as financial or tax advice. We strongly recommend consulting with a professional financial advisor or tax professional to get advice tailored to your specific situation before making any financial decisions.